Good evening, everybody. I'm Walter Peacock with Harris County Housing and Community Development. Today is July 25th, 2024. It is now 6:03 p.m. and we will begin our public hearing. Justin, please take it away.
Good evening. Welcome to the Harris County Housing and Community Development Department's public hearing for the draft publication of our Consolidated Plan, Fair Housing Assessment, and the Annual Action Plan. I'm a planner here at Harris County, and I and my team will be hosting the public hearing today. So before we get started, please know that this public hearing is being recorded and will be posted on our website. Also know that if you need closed captions, please see here on the slide how to turn them on if you have joined the meeting using the Microsoft Teams application. First, click the Move button here in the top right, then click Language and Speech, and then finally click Turn on Live Captions if they are not already on. And so we begin. So, what is the Consolidated Plan? It's a comprehensive planning document required by HUD for communities receiving funding through federal grants. Such grants include the CDBG Community Development Block Grant, the Home Investment Partnership Programs Grant, and the ESG Emergency Solutions Grant. Primary purpose of a consolidated plan is to first assess the needs of housing, community development, and market conditions while taking account of available resources. Our needs assessment will focus mainly on low and moderate income individuals, homeless individuals, and populations with special needs. Next, the consolidated plan will focus on setting priorities and goals to address these identified needs, specifying how federal funds will be used to meet these goals. To do this, Harris County uses citizen participation to involve our local citizens, ensuring the plan reflects community priorities and gives residents a voice in resource allocation. We also coordinate and collaborate with local governments, nonprofits, and other stakeholders in Harris County to enhance the effectiveness of our housing and community development programs. Before we break down the different sections of our consolidated plan, please see this graphic that illustrates how federal funds are typically dispersed by HUD after approval of our consolidated plan. The black arrows show the flow of federal funds here on the slide. So, the structure of our consolidated plan is going to be separated into 5 main sections: the executive summary, process, needs assessment, market analysis, and strategic plan. The executive summary encapsulates all key points and findings from our consolidated plan. The executive summary will also give a brief outline for our measurable goals and objectives for the next 5 years from 2024 to 2028. This is also going to have a summary evaluation of our past performance based off our 2019 to 2023 consolidated plan goals, highlighting our successes and areas for improvement. Here are some highlighted past performance numbers from our 2019 and 2023 project years. Harris County achieved the construction of 163 affordable housing units, provided minor home repairs to 118 households, provided rapid rehousing to over 1,000 homeless persons, and improved parks for over 25,000 people of Harris County. The next section will be called process, or to be better described as the citizen participation process. In this section, we will have a large catalog of all public meetings, focus groups, open houses, expert interviews, and surveys that were held during the consolidated plan. Here on this slide, we have a brief list and snapshot of what public input went into our citizen participation process. 2 of the many important groups we consulted were the Coalition for the Homeless and the Harris County Housing Authority, who have critical input on housing and homeless needs for our county. After the process, we have the needs assessment. The needs assessment evaluates housing and community development needs within our county using multiple different data sets that focus on low and moderate income individuals, homeless individuals, and again, special populations. We can also take much of this data and turn it into helpful maps that track different needs in the county, such as this homeless map, population map by zip code. Another example of a data set that we consider when planning for the county is the homeless population trend map that you see here. As seen here, our area has seen a general decrease over the decade, with complications arising recently due to hurricane disasters and COVID-19. This map was taken from the Coalition for the Homeless's point-in-time count report from 2024. Next, we have the market analysis section of the Consolidated Plan, which examines local housing market conditions, including supply, demand, affordability, and other important factors. It also identifies trends, challenges, and opportunities, providing data to support strategic decision-making and resource allocation. Using market analysis data, Harris County was able to create this map charting renters that are cost-burdened in our service area. Furthermore, here's an example of a table that you will see in our consolidated plan in the market analysis section, which tracks home prices and monthly rent averages over the past decade. Lastly, we have the strategic plan section. Here in this section, we will combine all previous data, public input, and analysis into a definable and actionable goals and measures for the next 5 years. Here we actually have a specific draft section of the strategic plan in SP-45 that breaks down our goals into definable needs, funding sources, and expected goal outcomes. So now let's take a quick look at some of our highlighted goals for the upcoming 5 years that we believe will effectively serve and meet the needs of our county. For housing goals, we have items like assisting families with home ownership, constructing single-family and multifamily units, and rehabilitating and abating damaged or hazardous housing units. For homelessness, the county is seeking to quickly rehouse homeless persons in permanent housing and renovate shelters to serve thousands of homeless individuals in Harris County. The county also wants to continue to improve social service facilities and support the creation of more parks for our LMI residents. We also have some big goals for infrastructure in which we are looking to improve or construct tens of thousands of feet of water lines, sewage lines, sidewalks, and support other drainage-related projects. To support our special populations, Harris County has numerous important goals to provide seniors, youth, disabled, and neglected children with effective and meaningful services. Along with this, Harris County will also promote transportation services, of which many special populations rely on. Now, this concludes the consolidated plan portion of the public hearing, in which Harris County has outlined its plan to continue supporting affordable housing, ending chronic homelessness, bolstering public facilities and infrastructure, improving public services for Harris County's LMI and special populations. For more information and to review the entire draft consolidated plan, please follow the link here on the screen and placed in the chat of this meeting by Naviel. I will now hand the presentation over to Jay Maya for her portion of the presentation.
Good evening. I'm Jeremiah Henderson. I'll be providing an overview of the 2024 to 2028 Fair Housing Assessment. Fair Housing Assessment fulfills HUD's analysis of impediment requirement that identifies and addresses local barriers to fair housing, promoting inclusive opportunities and compliance with fair housing laws. Grantees typically evaluate issues such as integration and segregation, areas of concentrated poverty, access to opportunities, and housing needs. Through public outreach and a thorough analysis of the fair housing landscape, HCD has identified fair housing impediments across the county and recommended strategies to address them. The housing needs analysis in the assessment reviews housing costs, including affordability and other housing needs by householder income. This graphic, based on the National Low Income Housing Coalition's 2023 Out of Reach data, indicates that in order to afford a one-bedroom rental unit without being cost burdened, a renter household would need to earn an annual income of $43,800, which translates to a 40-hour work week at an hourly rate of $21.06. It would take a 116-hour work week at the minimum wage of $7.25 to afford that same one-bedroom unit. A two-bedroom unit will require an annual income of $52,280, and a three-bedroom unit would require an annual income of $68,880. The median renter household income is $50,100 $111, which is lower than the necessary annual income to afford a two-bedroom unit at a fair market rent, indicating a challenge to affordable housing for low and moderate income households. Where people live influences opportunities for economic mobility and access to resources and services. Our assessment considered a variety of opportunity indicators that are influenced by economic, social, and cultural factors. The example map here depicts areas of concentrated poverty. Similar maps and analyses appear in the report examining each of the listed opportunity factors, including labor market engagement, jobs proximity, education, access to affordable transportation, walkability, access to parks, environmental hazards, food access, and healthcare access. Based on an analysis of quantitative data and the input received from residents through surveys, focus groups, and open houses, the assessment identifies seven fair housing barriers. Each of these are described in detail in the assessment and are also paired with a set of proposed recommendations for action. In this presentation, we have listed them out with just one of the proposed strategies. The seven fair housing barriers identified are: one, limited incomes and lack of access to resources. Two, limited supply of affordable housing for low and moderate income households. Three, limited housing opportunities and barriers to home ownership, predominantly impacting households of color. Four, limited accessible and affordable housing for people with disabilities. Five, environmental justice issues disproportionately impacting low-income communities and protected classes. Six, inequitable disaster mitigation and recovery efforts. And seven, the need for improved coordination and collaboration between institutions. Over the 2024 to 2028 planning cycle, the county will choose to implement strategies outlined in the Fair Housing Assessment to address these barriers and live up to its commitments to affirmatively further fair housing. For more information or to view the full Fair Housing Assessment draft online, please visit our Harris County Fair Housing page at harriscountytexas.gov.
And now we will pass the presentation on to Anna. No. Anna's having some microphone issues. Let's see if we can fix them real quick.
Appears to be on mute.
She said her computer seems to have potentially frozen, but we can still see her feed. Let me see if I can manually unmute her. Okay.
Anna, please move over to Justin's desk if you wouldn't mind.
Can you all hear and see me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. So good evening. My name is Ana Martinez. I'm here on behalf of the development team. You've heard from our planning team about our consolidated action plan, and I'm here to answer the question at the top of the slide. What is Harris County HCD's annual action plan? So the annual action plan is part of the 5-year consolidated plan to HUD, which sets forth Harris County's long-term community development goals and strategies. Program year 2024 to 2028 will be the first year of the consolidated plan for Harris County, and this annual action plan will cover the period of October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. The Harris County Housing and Community Development Department will fund categories outlined in the action plan, which will support the measurable objectives outlined in the consolidated plan. So that's kind of how they tie together. The county uses requests for proposals to identify and select projects for these funds. RFPs for this program year are expected to be released in October for the Emergency Solutions Grant, which is also known as ESG, followed by the Community Development Block Grant, aka Public Services, in November, and the CDBG General in December. Next slide. The next slide shows the breakdown of the funding for this program year by source. So you'll see here, and these are all the funds that we're going to be getting from HUD this year for our entitlement programs. We have about 15.2 million coming in CDBG funds. We have about 1.3 million coming in emergency solution grant funds, 4.6 in home investment partnership funds, with an estimated total of about 21.1 million coming total from HUD for this program year. Next slide. This slide shows the total number of activities and funding for each activity that the department will take on this program year. So if you see here, we are proposing 7 housing project activities, 5 homelessness, I guess I would say homelessness programs, 4 public facilities and improvements projects, 13 public service programs, and 1 other, which I believe is our demolition and clearance activities, but it falls in that other category, which totals out to 30 total project activities that the county is undertaking with that 21 million allocation. Next slide. So finally, we have the total number of persons or units that are going to be served this program year by category, which we use to measure the outcomes of HCD's programs. In total, the department anticipates this funding will assist 12,925 persons or units during the 2024 program year. And that could be, you know, typically a person is a person served. Unit could mean person served. It could also mean a household unit. So which could mean that unit would benefit an entire household. So I would say that the 12,000 is not representative of all of the persons that are going to be benefiting from the activity. And that concludes mine. I'm going to turn it back over to our planning team.
Thank you so much, Anna. We really appreciate that. And
Thank you.
now, you're very welcome. And now we will transition to our public comments portion of our public hearing led by our planning coordinator, Pearl.
Good evening, everyone. Before we get started taking comments, I would like to do a little housekeeping. First, this is not a Q&A, and please raise your hand in Microsoft Teams to place your comment. I'll call on you by the last 4 digits of your phone number. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Be cordial and professional. So we can get started. Let's see.
All right, so if we can go ahead and unmute Ms. Cabron Southern.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, all. My name is Cabron Southern, and I work with the Coalition for the Homeless of Houston-Harris County. I'd first just like to start off by saying thank you so much for including our data, our narrative, and our feedback in the draft plan. We really appreciate all of the hard work and coordination that this team has done to help ensure that the data and the needs of those experiencing homelessness and at risk of homelessness are included in Harris County's plan. So on behalf of the Way Home homeless response system of Harris County, Montgomery County, and Fort Bend, thank you so much. I'd just like to make a comment and say that in addition to the narrative that is included in the draft plan, as well as the information you all provided today, that we just like to advocate that when we are talking about serving those experiencing homelessness, it is more than just rental subsidy. It is also funding for those supportive services such as case management and outreach. And we just really appreciate you all for including some of that narrative in the draft plan. But we just like to advocate that it is housing with supportive services, and that supportive services is where a lot of the funding is needed within the homeless response system. Again, Kate Brain Southern with the Coalition for the Homeless of Houston-Harris County. We appreciate you guys so much and look forward to our continued collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's see who's next. For some reason, I can't see the name or the numbers.
No worries, I can add support. At the moment, we don't have any hands raised, so we'll take a moment to see if anyone would like to add another comment. So as it appears, we don't have any other individuals who would like to make a comment. I will go ahead and say thank you everyone for attending our public hearing. We have several ways to provide public comments on our draft documents that have been posted on our website. First is that public comments can be submitted by mail or in person to our Lantern Point office. The address is going to be 8410 Lantern Point Drive, Houston, Texas, 7754. During normal business hours for in-person comments from July 5th, 2024 at 10 a.m. until August 7th, 2024 at 5 p.m. Comments can also be submitted by email here to hcdconsolidatedplan@harriscountytx.gov. And lastly, also comments can be submitted using this link here, the QR code or the link, and the link is also posted on our website. Simply just scan the QR code here or navigate to our website where we also have the link to provide comments. And then lastly, as a reminder, this video recording and transcript will be posted to our Harris County website. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
It is now 6:25 p.m. We will be wrapping up the public hearing. We will post this on our website. Feel free to reach out if you have any comments that you would like to be included in the consolidated plan. Have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.